Hello everyone and welcome to another review. Today we're going to go ahead and review a fragrance from the house of Christian Dior. It's actually my first from the private line, and that's what this fragrance is from. It is Ambre Nuit from Christian Dior. This is their private line. Now they have two lines generally with the Dior fragrances. You have your regular designer fragrances that they have and they release, which are generally priced anywhere between like $50 and around $90, $100. You have your private line fragrances. These are generally priced a lot higher, but they also give you a lot more liquid for it. So say for example, there's an 8.5 ounce, yes, 8.5 ounces, which is almost 3 times the amount that most fragrances give you at their largest. That will run you about $250. And the 4.25, which is half of that, and which is this size, will run you about $170 retail, not including tax or anything like that. So these fragrances are priced a little bit higher than you're going to see, but they do give you a lot of juice with it too. So they're kind of meant to last you a much longer time just because they give you so much liquid. And most of the time, you're actually better off buying the gigantic size, just because, you know, obviously from $250 for, it's basically, what are you talking about? 50, so we're basically talking about like an $80 difference between the two. Yeah, $80 difference between this size and getting double of it for basically $80 more. So, but again, I'm never going to use that much, and this already by itself is a little bit too much for me. As far as size-wise goes, just because I have so many fragrances, I'm never going to finish them all. So that's why I always choose. So yeah, it simply says Ambre Nuit, Christian Dior on the side of it. Very simple presentation. I love the presentation. It says it's got here Christian Dior. The top is actually magnetic. It pops off. The sprayer is pretty good. And sorry. There we go. Pops back on. And other than that, very simple. Nothing else to write home about for this fragrance. All right. So this fragrance was released in the year of 2009. I'm not sure who the parfumé is. Didn't really jump out at that knowledge. It's actually maybe, no, it's not going to be him. I'm not going to even put that out there yet. I did not actually research that particular position. So if you have any clue who the parfumé of is, feel free, leave a note down below, and it'll help others out who are looking for information on this fragrance. All right. So the notes for this fragrance, very simple, consists of amber, bergamot, grapefruit, pink pepper, and rose. So what do you get when you smell this fragrance? You get all of those notes that are listed there. This is a fragrance that all of the notes that are actually listed for this fragrance are what you smell for it. Right off the bat, you're going to get the grapefruit, and you're going to get a little bit of bergamot. Basically, you're going to get citrus that kind of comes at you right at the bat. Now, kind of following that up, immediately, you're going to get the amber and the rose and the pink pepper. And that basically is the fragrance. As the fragrance kind of develops more, you're going to get a little bit more of the amber, which in this case I believe is ambergris, but you're going to get a little bit more of that enveloped with rose. It's really heavy amber and really heavy rose that really make up this fragrance. And the pink pepper kind of gives it a little bit of a spicy manliness to it. As the fragrance kind of goes along, again, you're just really going to get that rose and that amber just changed in a little bit of a different kind of composition. So while the citrus kind of dominates the overall top of it, as it dries down, you get a lot more of the amber, you get a lot more of the rose, and it becomes a little bit more genuine and mixed in with your skin scent to kind of create this warm, enveloping, masculine type of a scent to it. If you were to ask me kind of what this reminds me of, this actually reminds me of nuts. It's escaping my head right now. Dolce & Gabbana is the one. There we go. This fragrance sort of reminds me of it. Now, that's not to say that the fragrances smell the same. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that the same situation that I would envision wearing Dolce & Gabbana the one is the same type of situation that I would envision wearing Ambre Nuit. Now, they are still slightly different on that, but that's kind of the parallel that I've kind of drawn between the two. I generally put about anywhere between 2 and 5 sprays. Why do I put 2 about 5 sprays? Despite the fact that this is, I used to kind of put this on a fragrance that I would only wear when it gets colder out, but that, in my opinion, is a little bit of a mistake. This is a fragrance that you can actually wear year-round, even when it's warm. Just when it's warm, just be a little bit more careful on the trigger. Only go 1, maybe 2 sprays, if any at that. But it works perfect as far as situation goes at night. That's really the time that I'm really focusing on wearing this fragrance. At night and out in date situations. Situations where you really want to kind of give an alluring and an intoxicating, an invitating or inviting type of a aura to it. That's where Ambre Nuit really shines on it. That said, I don't think women are. I think women would find this just easily as wearable, and I believe it is a unisex fragrance. So for the women, it also suits your needs as well too. But I specialize in, putting across the man's perspective and what they would actually get for it. Season-wise, again, all season round. I honestly say that you can wear it pretty much any season around. Age-wise, now this is one that I honestly think that you should be wearing it post-college. I think it's a little bit too mature for the younger audiences, but again, with all my fragrances, these are just recommendations. If you can pull this one off and you're a younger gentleman, by all means, go ahead and do it. No skin off my back, no skin off yours. Now, as far as performance goes, now, performance on this fragrance is a little bit strange. For longevity is excellent. This is one of my longest lasting niche fragrances, and my skin lasts over around 20-ish hours, a little bit over. Definitely, it will stay on you even when you wake up. You'll still smell it on you. Other people will still smell it on you. It's a long hitter. That said, the projection on this I find to be below average. It doesn't really reach out and grab people. That said, sorry, I keep saying that said. Along with that, the sillage on this, on the other hand, is excellent. It leaves a scent trail pretty much wherever you go, but people aren't going to be able to smell you as well from a projection standpoint. But as you pass them, they're going to smell you immediately. But again, projection is not this fragrance's forte, at least on my skin. All right? So what other people thought about this fragrance, I usually take fragrances, I have other people smell them all the time. And one thing that I love to do is I love to go to Times Square and basically have 100 random people smell the fragrance. And what they said of this fragrance, 82 people liked this fragrance. Words that they said were, it was mature, it was elegant, it was alluring, it was inviting, it was masculine. 10 people disliked this fragrance out of the 100. And they said that it was too feminine, that it was Play-Doh-y, and that it was a little bit weird. And there were 8 people who thought it was neutral, and it was kind of a mix between the two. That they go, were the kind of thoughts on this fragrance. So if I were to give this fragrance a rating, I actually give this fragrance an 8 out of 10. I absolutely love the fragrance. I think a lot of stuff from the Dior private line, especially if you could find something that you like, is definitely worth picking up. And I think it's a little bit misleading for, the actual prices on them. Just because they kind of come off as really expensive, but they're not that expensive as people think they are, just because of how much liquid they actually give you. You may be just as suited getting in on these and splitting it with somebody, and then it comes up to say this is a 4.25, so you get about 2.1 ounces. Split 170 of it. You do the math. We're talking about like $85 per person, which comes out to an expensive selling designer fragrance. So it's not that bad. So if you want to get in on it, I would highly suggest, splitting it with somebody. Just have to find another person who wants the private line fragrance that you actually want. There's a couple of the private line ones that I actually saw that I actually think that I may pick up. But as with all the private lines, always smell them out, always check them out. 8 out of 10. This fragrance suits my needs. I love wearing this for its purpose. I take it out when I'm going out on dates, when I'm going out, to the bars or whatever it is, and I'm dressed well, dressed nice. That's actually when I wear this fragrance. Some reasons that you may not want to get it, well, it does have a little bit of a mature vibe to it, and its versatility is somewhat limited in my point. I don't like to wear this to work because I do think it's just out of character for work. I don't like to wear it to other places like casual. It just feels kind of funny to me to be wearing a fragrance like this on those kind of situations, right? So, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free, leave me a note, send me a message down below, or do whatever you gotta do. Thank you, take care of yourselves, and have a great day.